You being a good boy? You being a good boy? Are you stopping me recording my video? I know. Thanks, buddy. I need to record this video, though. Love you. Hello and welcome to Critical Penetrator. Today we're going to have a look at the ships you can build from the UCM battlecruiser box, their statistics and how you might use them in-game. If you like my videos in this style, please leave me a like. If you're on mobile, hype the video. Yes, that is something you can do. And if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to prove my girlfriend wrong that I can get 500 subscribers talking about spaceships. If you have someone who plays the UCM, please share the video with them, as they'll be able to add potentially to the conversation in the comments below. As a caveat, just at the start of this video, I'd like to say that the Dropfleet ships and their performance is quite complicated, and there are very large amount of combinations that you can use in your games, and this is definitely not a detriment to the game. It's one of the positives, and it's why we like to play it in the local area. However, there will be things that I don't cover here. There will be parts of the game that I do not mention when I talk about these ships, because if I was to spend that long on every ship, this would be an hour and a half long video. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments below. But for now, we're going to be doing the run and gun sort of way that we've been doing for the PHR1 so far. Please remember, this is just my opinion, opinion formed by playing games and speaking to people who play with these ships. So without further ado, let's crack on with the first supercruiser. Okay, starting off then with the Yokohama, 160 points. This is a medium class ship, so it's taking up the points you need to spend on medium vessels, which is a good thing. And yeah, just going straight into the weapon profile then. So it's mass drivers. It's the same thing you're going to see on like the Vilnius and stuff, which we're actually going to look at in a second to compare them to. And yeah, it's an interesting ship. The feature carrier part of it is the most interesting part, because well, that's just one of the things which is new to the game at the moment, and these are filling that sort of gap where, you know, you've got a medium to be able to move them around. I think in comparison to the Busan, which is the ship coming up next, this one might see less play, just because of the weapons it has and the loadout, the way they are generally. This ship on general quarters is probably going to be firing its mass drivers all the while, which are kinetic weapons. You've got plenty of mass drivers throughout the faction. Yes, you do have an energy weapon here with Scald, but that ideally wants to be within 8 inches, so it can actually have that -2 to the save. And it's only got 2 shots with the damage of 1. So while it's reliable with a 2+ lock, and it probably is going to push some of the damage through with those Scald 2, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's not screaming brilliant to me. So yeah, Yokohama, I mean, this is like a 6 out of 10 for me. You know, it's the kind of thing you're going to build if you're just fleshing out, I think, your collection of ships there. So onto the Busan then. For 6 points more, you get a slightly different weapon loadout. The 2 bottom weapons there, close action, and they're going to be wanting to be within 8 inches. And you're effectively going to be ignoring these until you get into that range, because they are useless until you get there. And so just on a general quarters, you're going to be firing one of the same mass driver turret, as is on the Yokohama, but it's got the Elapid laser turret. So yeah, stupid sci-fi name, but I do like that. And we're going to see an upgunned, to use a Dropfleet term, version of the Elapid laser turret later on another ship, which I do think is very good. So yeah, this is one to keep an eye on. Front and side arc, so it's a good arc for firing in. It's you know, a very large amount of your firing arc as the ship. 2 attacks, 2+ lock, 2 damage, but it does have penetrator. So on 4s, this is going to be core damage, and you know, pushing through 4 damage onto something is actually really nice. And so, you know, I would think that you'd expect to do, you know, 2 to 3 damage, you know, with this ship into something which has something like a battleship or something. So yeah, I don't think this is a bad ship. It is just here to carry the feature, and that's its main job. So carry the feature and also potentially with some output. So yeah, if you're going to build one of them, I would suggest to build the Busan, just because it for me it's just flat better. It is 6 points more, and so if you don't have 6 points, perhaps the Yokohama is the one you're going to build. But yeah, if you can, build the Busan. So just a little slide here just at the end to see what these ships I believe are competing with in the medium class cruisers for the UCM. And the reason why I'm putting these here is because these are the sort of medium class brawler looking to damage type ships, which they're the most common ones I think that you would see on the table, to be honest, from a UCM player, especially something like the Vilnius, just because it has the mass drivers. And the UCM do have the all mass drivers all the day AP ability. So yeah, interesting here. We've got 45 and 51 points less than the Yokohama and Busan respectively for the Vilnius, and 50 and 56 points less for the Warsaw. So if you don't want a feature, you're not bothered about carrying a feature somewhere, these are just better to have, in my opinion, because you're going to be with the everyone knows what the Vilnius is going to do. You know, the Vilnius is going to fire its mass drivers, and it's going to be trying to get those critical ones to be able to push through a little bit of damage. And the Warsaw is just going to general quarters around and fire sniper its Cobra heavy laser pair with the burn through 2 into some things that it wants to put some damage on. So these are, in comparison to the fleets that I play and have an interest in, for what they do, these are actually very cheap. You know, 110 points or 115 points for the amount of output they can put out is very good. And yeah, I do really like these ships. The thing is, if you're going to take these, you do lose the feature carrier. You do lose your extra point of hull. What's it, the Busan and the Yokohama are 13 hull, not 12. And the 2-inch scan range, because your scan of these with these is only 6 inches. And you lose more weapons, obviously. So just to put out there, you know, this is what these ships are competing with, really. And so, yeah, you can see that just for that 50 points more with the Busan, or around 50 points more, it is just a way better ship than the Vilnius or the Warsaw. I think it does that role. It fills that role better than the Vilnius and the Warsaw now, considering the fact that it also has the utility with the feature. All right then, so on to the heavy class ships now. So we've done the 2 mediums, and now we're on to the big boys. So 165 points, so still comparable in price to the last 2. Johannesburg. We've seen this ship forever. It's been around for a while. If you've played the game for a while, you've definitely played against these. It seems to be quite popular for UCM players. And I think it's because it has volley 2 on those mass drivers, so you're effectively getting 2 shots, 2 targets you can fire into, and it has Vanguard with some launch. So good little all-rounder. 165 points. I don't think it's anything massively to write home about. However, it's just a good little ship to have, and I do think it's I do think it's quite good. Critical 1 on that volley weapon as well, and you can start it off on the table. So yeah, not going to dwell on it too long, but I think this is just a nice, decent little ship to have. Probably like a 7 out of 10. At this point, before we start the Perth, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching the video. It's boiling hot. Absolutely fucking boiling in the UK. So yeah, I'm currently making this video whilst we're having our second hottest day in June ever, in the same June 2026. So yeah, it's very warm here. So yeah, sorry if there's any imperfections or problems with this video. I'm doing my best to fight through this extremely uncomfortable weather for us. So the Perth, 145 points. Starting off on the table with Vanguard, and it's effectively a sniper. A sniper with some extra guns, or upgunned, as Mr. Dave might say over and over again. So yes, I quite like this ship for 145 points, if I'm honest with you. It's not anything massively to write home about, yeah, I just feel like this is cool. Yeah, of course, you've got to have you know, at least 145 points of medium ships to be able to take this bad man, but you're definitely going to have that in the full-size games. And I think he just fills in a role of you know, pushing through some damage. Bloom and Flash, so you're taking spikes, they're taking spikes. Burn through 1, focused, so you're ignoring escort. I mean, I think this is just like a perfectly serviceable little vessel, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think as well, because it can start off on the table. That's something which you can lean into. So, with a Johannesburg and with a Perth, if you're whatever reason taking both, they're both going to be starting on the table, regardless of your deployment type, and I do think that's pretty cool. So yeah, okay, on to the next ship then. So yeah, this one is actually the one which I earmarked that I think is a little bit crap. So we're just going to have a little look at this guy. We're not going to dwell on him too long because there's a ship later on which does what he seems to want to do, but better. And yeah, just but better. So yeah, Vanguard starting on the table, and he's got Aegis. Now, I was trying to think of a reason why you might want Aegis on the table at the start of the game, and the only thing I could think of is if you're playing against Shaltari, who have lots of frigates with the close action microwave guns or whatever they are, and they're yeeting them into your face all the time, and that's really annoying for you because Aegis can help protect you and ships around you with against that weapon type. So that's the only thing I could think of. This guy's not particularly fast with a thrust of 8. He's not particularly upgunned with only his one set of the mass driver turrets, despite it having a good arc. And he has 2 heavy torpedoes, which we've got the graphic for here, 4-inch thrust on those torpedoes. So after you've put them out, placing them out, yeah, 4-inch thrust isn't getting anywhere quickly. And considering you're going to want to be doing stuff before the 4th turn, are these torpedoes going to make it anywhere? I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. So, yeah, we're just going to move on from the Rome. Unfortunately, yes, as they say, Rome was not built in a day. And carrying on the awful Roman or misplaced Greek stuff that I said in my last video, we're just going to carry on straight away into the Venice. Now, I do actually think this ship is also a bit poo, and I'm going to tell you why. The UCM seems to have quite a few of these, like, command type ships. And there's another one later on, which is actually fantastic. And because of how fantastic the one later on is, it diminishes this one's viability within a list. So we've got Command Ship 2. So your commander, your admiral, is going to have an extra 2 action points. Marines, so if you're getting boarded, you're having a bad time anyway. Vanguard 4, so you start off on the table, and that's probably one of the saving graces of the ship, so you can start off on the table with your admiral if you wish. Yeah, I just don't really understand why you're taking this guy. If you're looking at this as a UCM player, or otherwise, if you're looking at this and thinking, this is brilliant, I don't know what you're talking about, let me know in the comments below, because I just think he's a bit rubbish, to be quite honest with you. And as I've put here, quite expensive and needs to add something to your fleet to be worth taking. These are the kind of ships that you take them because of those UCMF BattleNet abilities. You look at this ship and you say, I want to build a list around this ability or whatever. I just don't really care about these abilities that much. This is like all about doing extra bits with other ships. If you think this is fantastic, please let me know why in the comments below. Okay, so the Siam. I actually really like this ship, and this is what we were talking about when we said about the upgunned version of the Lapid laser turrets, because this guy is coming with 4 attacks with these guys. So you do have the potential to be spitting out quite a good amount of core damage with this ship. And he is Vanguard and has fighters and bombers. So if you're going for the launch list and you're wanting things to be put on the table that are, able to take some hits and dish out some hits, do some early game killing of drop ships or lighter vessels, this can definitely do that. It can definitely punch down into these things. Whether you want to spend 180 points to punch down into something, that's entirely up to you. But I do think its weapons are good. Even the close action one with Scald here, I think is good, just because it has Scald. So 6 shots, 3+ with that. I mean, it's fairly decent, and 2 different weapon types as well, the energy and kinetic. It just has a little bit of something. It's got the utility to be able to go into anything. So Yeah, I think it's a very cool option, as I've written here. I think it's a cool ship. I think it's a cool option. Yeah, and I think it's something to consider. I don't know how well it's going to perform realistically on the table, and I don't know if there. Well, I do know there are ships that are going to be doing similar things later on, and already in your PDF. So yeah, yeah, we'll just move on for this guy. I'm giving this like a 7 or 8 out of 10 though. I like this guy. That's just my opinion. The Hong Kong. Okay, so this guy is good. However, there's a guy who's going to do it better later. So feature carrier, fantastic. We like a feature. This is like the Perth and the Busan had a little baby, and they got rid of that really cool elapid laser and slapped on the Perth weapon. I think this is fine. You are competing with the battleships and super battleships when you're talking about heavy ships. And whilst we're not necessarily going into them here, you just have to be aware that there are battleships which are going to be doing similar sorts of things, albeit not carrying the features. There's so much utility in the UCM battleships. I just think there's so much options and things you can do with them that you just don't get in the other factions, and I find it very interesting but very difficult to look at and analyze, because there's just so much you can do with them. This, however, you're using him to take a feature somewhere, and he's going to try and snipe something on the way with his Viper super heavy laser. Loads of rules on here, big old fat old slide. Unfortunately, I think there's something that's going to do the same job better later on. Okay, then, the new Dubai. This is the ship I was saying that I think will just do the job better than the in Hong Kong. So yeah, this guy has a very specific design. As you can see, all of his weapons here being close action. He's got Aegis 6. He's got 2 heavy torpedoes, and he can launch 2 of them at once. And he's a feature carrier. So this for me just says I want to chug forward into the middle of the table. I want to brawl with something with lots of dice and a couple of the weapons having Scald 1. And I want to fire my very slow moving but a very high damage torpedoes into some stuff while I plop down, I don't know, another 4 heavy torpedoes in my feature. So he's just a really, really good ship. I like this guy. This is the kind of thing I like to use. Maybe that's the PHR person inside of me, my cyborg sphere addled brain. But yeah, I like him. As I've written here, it feels like a proper brawler. I do think this is something that the UCM could do with having like proper brawlers. You know, there are ships that are used like that all the time, such as, I don't know, the Vilnius and things, but they don't really, not able to take a load of damage. But with Aegis 6 here, 5+ backup save. Yeah, he's 215 points, so he's stepping on the toes of some battleships, but I think he is, yeah, he's a very interesting ship. And with that carrier, I think he's well worth the points. Yeah, just absolutely really enjoy the ship. I really enjoy the way it's been designed. I like the way it looks as well, because it looks slightly different to a lot of the other ones we've seen. Yeah, so yeah, fantastic. I think this is like a 9 out of 10 for me. Let me know what you think about this guy in the comments below. Okay, so the Rotterdam. As we were speaking about the Venice, we said there's a ship that's going to do what the Venice is sort of doing, but with better abilities, and this it just has everything. So if we're to think and remember back to the Venice, you can slide back to it in the video. It doesn't have a feature, and it has some worse abilities, worse BattleNet abilities, because they are different despite being called BattleNet. I think that it is UCMF BattleNet on the Venice, and it's UCMA BattleNet on the Rotterdam, as if it couldn't already be any more confusing. So yeah, Commander Ship 2, your admirals get an extra 2 levels, fantastic. All your weapons are close action. 2 of them have Scald 2, fantastic. Not a lot of shots from the ones which are going to be doing good damage here, or potentially pushing good damage through. I say good damage, it's only 1 damage, but you get what I'm getting at. I'm going to just chalk up all of my misspeaks to the absolutely boiling hot 36-degree heat that I'm recording the video in. Feature carrier and the BattleNet. Now this BattleNet I'm going to talk about specifically because I've played against this ship and I think it is very good. For 10 points more than the Venice, to have the feature carrier, the more weapons, and the better UCMA BattleNet abilities, I think it's just a really, really good ship. So, double time bulk line. When you're activating another friendly group in orbit, until the end of its activation, that group may launch its bulk landers as if the target drop site has no enemy battalions. So what this is doing, if you're not aware, is when you are dropping bulk landers normally and there are enemies on the drop site that you're trying to drop those bulk landers onto, you have to half the amount that's going down. So if you've got 4, which is a common number of them to have from like a Ganymede or something, you're actually only going to drop 2 troops onto that drop site. And I think this is simulating the fact that they're slower moving. There's troops down there that are resisting them coming in and blowing them up as they're landing. So this basically says, nah, I'm just going to land the normal amount that I want to land, which is brilliant, because some of the battleships, like, I don't know, whatever, the Thebes is the one that is in my head, but there are other ones as well that have drop. They have a lot of drop, and they can just fly over and drop like, I don't know, 8 or 10 or whatever it is with this ability. And because you're command ship 2, how I see this is you're effectively getting to use one of these abilities for free every turn, because of the fact that this gives you an extra 2 command points every single turn when your admiral's on this ship. Sorry, my cat is desperately trying to sit on my microphone and I'm trying to stop him. So yeah, feet first into hell. When you activate another friendly group in atmosphere, until the end of its activation, the group can launch its dropships or drop pods with a range of 6 inches. So this is normally a lesser range, and so this is, you know, you're further away from where you want to drop, and you can just drop them from 6 inches now. It's a absolutely fantastic utility ability, which gives you, you know, this is Dropfleet Commander. You want to drop stuff onto drop sites. This is allowing you to drop things onto drop sites more efficiently, or effectively, or in greater numbers than you would be able to before. So for 10 points more, if you're taking one of these command ship designs, I think it's excellent. Do you want your commander to be on this ship with 15 hull, an energy save of 4 up and a 5 up backup save? There's worse places for him to be. Do you want him to go to the middle of the table and use his close action weapons? No. Do you want him to go across the board and place down a feature? Maybe not really, but also kind of you're going to have to. So it's an interesting thing. You're going to have to sort of protect him, use him as best you can, maybe some escorts, maybe some Aegis, whatever you can to protect him from dying, because you don't want to lose this ship. Because if you lose the ship, you're going to lose your admiral and you're going to lose the BattleNet abilities as well. So yeah, talked about him for a little while. He is potentially, this ship in the right player's hands is a 10 out of 10. Because they're going to use it in a way that's going to help them win the game. And with the UCM, the way that I see them being played on the table locally and also just everywhere in battle reports and stuff, you're not winning the game by just absolutely decimating the enemy fleet, as much as you might like to, because you know, we're war gamers and we want to blow stuff up because we're playing pew pew spaceships. That's not how you're going to win as the UCM. This is how you're going to win as the UCM. You're going to play the mission better than the other side is going to play the mission. And so I think this is actually going to help you do that quite a lot. There are other ways to win. There are other ways to do things, but this is, yeah, this is like, 9 or 10 out of 10 for this ship. And the final ship here, the Milwaukee, the better Hong Kong. So yeah, this is just going to do the same job that the Hong Kong was doing, but in my opinion, better. He has got a feature carrier. He is launching 2 fighters or bombers. He has the upgunned version of the laser turrets, which I do still think this weapon, I like this weapon better than the burn through weapon that's coming up on like the Perth style burn through weapon. Yeah, fantastic ship. There's not an amazing load to write home about with this guy, because he's just doing what he says on the tin. He's going to take his feature carrier, he's going to stick it somewhere, and then he's going to plonk around and fight some other ships and try and blow them up. And so this is the kind of guy that is the guy who's going to be putting significant damage or decent damage onto other vessels, so that, again, other vessels can then blow them up, because you are trying to play this combined arms sort of militaristic kind of way. So, you know, flying in after he's done some damage to things with some Oslos and finishing off some stuff or whatever it is you do to kill them. So yeah, I love this guy. Milwaukee pocket battleship, big boy. It's a cool looking miniature as well. I think he's excellent. He's a cool brawler. He's carrying a feature. I mean, these features we're going to do a video on very soon. I'm just waiting for the Resistance one to come out, and then we're going to do a little review of all the different features. I think it's excellent. I think if your choice is between this and the Hong Kong, I think I'm taking this. If you disagree with that, let me know in the comments why below. Yeah, I just like him. He's even sort of like you know, going against the New Dubai, because I think that's a more accurate representation. The Milwaukee and the New Dubai, they're both just chunking into the middle of the table, plopping their feature down, and then doing as much damage as they can before they get, you know, orbital decayed or whatever happens to them. So yeah, interesting ship. I really like it, and to be honest, it's a great way to cap off this video of all of the UCM stuff, because yeah, this is just a great little ship. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Any final takeaways here? My final takeaway is don't build a Rome and don't build a Venice. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, everything else seems pretty fun and has some uses. Perhaps the Venice does have a use if you're really liking those abilities, and yeah, as I said, do let me know in the comments below. The Rome, I mean, I think you're just a stupid man for building the Rome. So there we go. That is the final takeaways from the UCM Battlecruiser box video. Thank you very much for staying with us until the end of the video. Please do give us a thumbs up, leave us some comments, and let us know what you think about the video. Let me know that these are still worth making for the community, and I will see you next time.